every leather crafter knows that cleaning edges can make or break a project. But what happens when your leather is too thick or bulky? You cannot fold it neatly. Stitching becomes a struggle. So in this video, I'll show you what a skiving machine is, why we need it, how I create a thinner edge for later assembly or folding. So what is a skiving machine? It's a tool to thin the edge of the leather by shaving off excess material with a round knife. Without it, you'd have to rely on tedious hand shaving techniques, which can easily lead to uneven edges, wasted leather, and hours of frustration. But with the skiving machine here, you can save time, reduce mistakes, and give your project a clean, stable finish. Okay, let me walk you through the machine's key parts and show you what each one does so you can avoid any confusion when you start using it. The first is the feeding roller. The roller is what moves the leather through the machine and makes sure it fits evenly toward the knife. Sounds simple, right? But here's the thing. If the roller isn't in perfect condition, you are in a world of trouble. Uneven fitting means uneven results. Think about this. Your leather might end up with a rough edge, inconsistent skiving, or even worse, it could jam mid-skive, ruining your project entirely. And trust me, there's no coming back from that. So imagine spending hours cutting and preparing your leather only to have it ruined because the roller wasn't doing its job. That's why you need to double check your roller every time before you start. Is it clean? Is it smooth? Is it turning evenly? If you skip this step, you are risking wasted time, wasted materials, and let's be honest, a lot of frustration. So here's the bottom line. If the roller isn't perfect, you will never get that flawless skive you are aiming for. So take a moment, check it carefully, and make sure everything is running smoothly. Your project depends on it. The next is a round knife. It is the blade that shapes up the leather to create a thinner, more workable edge. But here's the catch. If the knife isn't sharp enough, things can go downhill fast. And a sharpened knife doesn't just struggle to cut. It can tear the leather, leave jagged edge that you cannot fix. So here's the advice. Always check the sharpness of the knife before you start skiving. If it doesn't feel rather sharp, take a moment to sharpen it. A dull knife isn't just a small inconvenience. It's a difference between clean, professional results and a total disaster. Okay, next one is a presser foot height adjuster. It is what keeps the leather in place and lets you adjust the gap, depending on the thickness of your leather. Sounds simple, right? But here's the thing. If the gap is too tight, the presser foot can press down so hard that it leaves deep marks on the leather, making it unusable. If the gap is too loose, the leather can slip around. Think about this. You've spent time carefully preparing your leather, cutting into size, and setting everything up, only for the presser foot to throw everything off because you didn't adjust it properly. So here's my advice. Always test it on the scrap piece of leather first. Make sure the leather stays steady but isn't being crushed. This one adjustment might seem small, but it can make or break the entire skiving process. Here comes the leather-wise adjuster or guidance. This one is a tool that lets you control how wide or narrow the skive edge will be. But here's the thing, get this adjustment wrong and your whole project could fall apart. If the width is too narrow, you might not skive enough off, leaving the edge too thick to fold neatly or join with other pieces. And if it's too wide, you risk weakening the edge by shaving off more materials than you should, leaving it fragile and prone to tearing. The next one is the spring pressure adjuster. It's what controls how much force the feeding roller applies to the leather when skiving. If you turn it up to increase the pressure, the roller presses harder against the leather. If you turn it down to lighten the pressure, the roller barely pushes on the leather, giving it less resistance. So this adjustment is key to getting the right balance for different leather types and thicknesses. So the next is the angle adjustment for presser foot and the roller gap interaction. The angle of the presser foot and the manual roller gap adjustment work hand in hand to control how the leather fits and how much materials get shaved off during skiving. If either one is off, you won't get the clean, precise result you're looking for. A flatter presser foot angle spreads the pressure more evenly across the roller and knife. But if the roller gap is too big while using this angle, the knife can cut too deeply into the leather. This over-skiving removes more materials than needed, so a steeper presser foot angle applies pressure more narrowly onto the leather surface. However, if the roller gap is too tight while using this angle, the pressure can become too intense, causing deep mark on the surface of the leather. On the contrary, it might cut less material than you need. That's why it's critical to adjust both settings in harmony. Always test them together on scrap leather before starting your project and adjust as needed to match the thickness and the purpose of the leather. Alright, now that we've covered the adjustment and the purpose behind them, let me show you exactly how I put this into practice. I'll demonstrate two scenarios. First is how to skive a clean leather edge for assembling one piece to another, and then how to create a skived edge specifically for folding. So let's dive in. For assembling, I will adjust the angle to presser foot to be slightly steeper. I'll also set a wise adjuster to a mid-narrow position, so we're not removing too much material. The goal here is to keep the edge clean and precise, but not overly thin. This is perfect for attaching this piece to another in my project. The leather stays strong and stable, but it's neat and ready to be joined. Now let's move on to skiving for folding, which needs a completely different setup. For this, I'm going to adjust the wise adjuster to make the skive's area wider. Why? Because we need to shave off more material to thin out the edge and make it easy to fold, and creating clean, polished look. But this is just the beginning. In the next video, we'll tackle one of the most common frustrations, uneven skiving. What causes it, how to fix it, I'll walk you through it step by step. See ya!